Yes, Erin, we are here, and the subconscious is always here. So while he is like, "Thank you very much. It's cute that you think that you need to invite me in," I already have golden tickets to this conversation. And so, yes, thank you for acknowledging me, but this is, oh, he is saying, this is my show, actually. I'm the one that coordinates all of these connections to the collectives. I'm the one that prompts Joanne. I am the one that is getting the connections of the conscious minds. So it's cute that you think that you could invite me into a party I've already pre-planned.
Well, 10-4. Gotcha. Don't want to miss the party. So I'm happy to be here.
Mm.
And
It's you
yeah.
questioning why this significant conversation? Why? What is the part of it here? It is cute that you think that you need to pre-plan and organize and try to master this connection. It is a very important connection, and it's not a coincidence that you have been invited to be the being, the soul who is responsible to call in the reptilian collective. As you have been recommended by Joanne, it is the reptilian conscious mind collective. And so while you think you may be speaking to one, there is many that will be having epiphanies of this connection and conversation today. It is very significant, it is very important. And as we know, Erin, you're wondering, am I protected? Is this going to be okay for me? How is this going to work out for me? What is the end results for me? What do I need to do and focus on? And we're saying just you being here, willing to ask and use your free will to bring forward the connection. It means that we are not imposing on those conscious minds. Yes, we could prompt them, but this would have to be in permission of their own collectives. And while we do have permission from their own collectives, this is the protocol we would like to use. We would like to use you, human, in this lifetime, and your free will to call upon the conscious mind of the reptilian collective, because you actually have an open heart. You're neutral to their species, you're neutral to their way of life and accepting, because you do not judge them, nor could you judge yourself. You respect life contracts, life journeys, life experiences. You have a maturity about them now. May not have always been the case, as you well know, but you have grown. Your maturity to be balanced and neutral and acceptance of all life is indeed quite factual how Source would like all to be. He did not say, "Love all but those you do not think are worthy of love." He did not say, "Love all but those who have diets that you do not appreciate or love." He said, "Love all." He said, "Love all." So we know that you have stepped up, Erin, and you are very loving now and open. You have dropped your judgments, you have dropped your labels. But we are asking all now. We have called in all the collectives who are listening to this. The mission for humanity and those who are on this planet is to love all. Have no judgment, have no fear of others, to love and accept all, including yourselves. And you may not see or understand the significance of others' lifetimes, others' life contracts, but really it's none of your business how others live. If it's not impacting your personal life, stop being distracted by them. All life here has been endorsed and respected by Source. And so you're trying to all grow and be mature, and therefore judgment of other species that may scare you is simply immaturity. So, time for the show. Time for you, Erin, to use your free will to help us today.
Thank you. I would like to call upon the reptilian conscious mind collective, please.
Yes, 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 and we have sensed that we would be having this conversation. And we want to say that we are afraid of change because we don't feel that this change that is being forced upon us is something we want. We are scared of the change of the way of our lives. We don't like the pressure that others are putting on us. We sense that we are supposed to be stepping up ourselves. We understand that there is a need for us to be open to growth, but we're scared. We love our way of life. We can see that there could be room of improvement because we are seeing things like inbreeding challenges that are not. It is a concern. We do have concerns. While we don't have what we could see as our perfect dreams in the way of our lives, we feel like we're quite happy with the routine. So now we're having to focus and look at the problems. We do not like change forced upon us. And while we could see now, if we had to be open and reflective of the issues we have and the routines in our lives, we could see that there does need to be some room of improvement, but we are also scared of change. So we do want improvements, but we also don't want change because we are almost not able to trust that if we did accept change, that those improvements would occur. We don't want any more problems. We don't want any more challenges. And so we do want change. Then we do want our issues to improve. But we are scared. We are scared that we are being so judged. We are scared that we are being misunderstood by others. We are concerned and worried, and this is where our fear comes from. And it's not because of our low density that we are holding on to negativity of emotions. We can feel judgment coming from other species onto us. We feel like we are being misunderstood, and we feel like we have a right, an entitlement to have life as well. And so we can raise our children, and so we can grow as our communities and live the way that we feel is normal in our life cycles. So this is the problems that we have. So we have now been able to fully recognize it as a conscious collective that we all see these problems, and we all want help, but it is time for us to accept that we are just not alone. It is time for us to accept that we do have our own collectives and our own guides. It's just we see the life cycle as just we see the life cycle as just a one life experience. We don't really factor in or consider reincarnation as a culture. We are blocking ourselves from seeing bigger things. We just want to focus so much on our daily lives and routines that considering something else beyond that limits our perspective, limits our understanding of really what else is out there for us. So as a collective, we realize that there is immaturity of understanding the purposes of lives, seeing that there is so much more out there for us. We love the loyalty of our placements in our positionings in our shall say, tribes, our colonies, and everyone has a purpose and a placement there, and we feel very valued for each other for that. And so there's not that much animosity between us. So we're very happy in our roles of who we are. We don't really have much aspirations to be anything more than who we are in the roles, because it completes us emotionally. We feel significant in the roles that we play in our colonies. And so we don't have the need to have aspirations to know that we could have other lifetimes and be anything else. So we are simple with that mindset. But when we have to look at the whole species and see that we have learnt so much, and we have really completed that aspect of the way of life, that all could be put into the Akashic records for us to learn and grow from. And we do see now the importance of advancing our DNA to be able to hold higher frequencies, for us to start considering that there is more to life. So we are having a conscious mind conversation with you, Erin, and we are able to connect in like we have never really before to our own collectives who are helping us have this epiphany of a bigger perspective. And they are showing us exciting things. They are giving us hope. They are showing us that our worry about our inbreeding problems are actually going to be not a problem anymore. It would easily be fixed with new DNA sliced in to us, because we would be able to then our bodies are breaking down earlier than what we were aware of. Our bodies are not as long living anymore. We're noticing shorter lifespans, and so we have been considering that this is because of the limited breeding spectrum scope, and we are now knowing it is not actually the limited breeding program, the limited breeding options. It's actually our teams wanting us to have shorter lives, because this is really a representation of the reptilian experience, especially on Earth. Everything's been explored and mastered and learnt. And so why we keep coming to have these lives needs to be shortened, because there is really not much growth, and we're using energy that's already been explored. And so this is intriguing to us, because now we can see the metaphysical perspective of it versus the physical problems of it. And so we can understand that now. But the DNA does need to be upgraded, because we need to be evolutionarily upgraded to be able to hold a higher frequency, to be able to start seeing and feeling more excited about our future evolution. We realize that we are just the foundation, and we could expand more and grow more. Our worry is our food source. If we cannot get food sources, we would no longer exist. This is a very scary thing for us, a genuine concern. How do we survive if we can't eat? Many species that eat have this basic concern and worry. And we are being told that this will not be a problem when our bodies change We will not be needing the same meat systems that we have been, and that there would be, with the introduction of another being, another species, our DNA merged in with the amphibians, would then create something that our skin wouldn't be as hard, as firm, because we do not see the sun, because we are underground. There's this moisture within the underground. It's dry, but also there is a humidity to it. So we have to have a harder skin to be able to survive living there. And so when we have the amphibian mixed in, our skin would change because our environment is changing, and we are concerned about our own shift and what that would look like. We are basically being told, for the sake of our survival, we have to do this. But we don't want to leave here, because we are in our routines that we enjoy. There is so much change being forced upon us. We get concerned and worried. And so we are being shown that the skin would change, not completely, but there would be new glands on our skin which would have a secretion of a milk-like substance, and that would be part of a food system that we could nourish ourselves with. It is what the mothers would feed. And so it is producing a sticky milk substance which actually has nourishment in it, and that would support the young much longer. And this is would be the start of our change of dietary requirements as such, into more of a liquid-based diet than, say, a denser diet. And just that change alone would be able to change our frequencies and hold. It would be our youth, our young, that would be able to have more of an advancement of perspective and insight into wisdom, and they would be more open to their own teams, to be able to get their own personal insights, to be a more open, a more aware being. And so this would inspire the elders to learn and grow from just that advancement alone. And so this is giving us hope, because as you know, as being a parent, you want your children, you want your young to survive and thrive. And we may look and seem brutal and fierce to you, but ultimately all our motives have been is to protect our young, to protect our babies. Because we do love each other. And we do have, our families are our complete community. And so we are developing more and more love connections with each other. And this is the start of our evolution, because we live with each other and we are always around each other. We are a supportive community, and we do have beautiful connections with each other. The collectives are saying to the conscious minds of these reptilians who are having this dream-like epiphany today, that We are all family. And there is love for all. And all collectives who have a higher perspective and who are in a higher dimension do love and hold space for all. And it has been challenging, yes, when those 3D beings have tried to cause conflict because they're not aware of their actions and behaviors and their cause and effect. But they're still loved, and they're still being nurtured and encouraged to expand and be helped with that. And so they also know that the reptilian collective has been distracted and taken off path and purpose from another collective, another part of their own collective that has discarded them and used them for their own bidding. And while it's not all, there has been a problem with that. And while it is perceived history, all the collectives are aware of what has taken place. They've seen it. They have been able to go and see how the manipulation of the Dracos have coerced some to have different star seeds be put onto this planet. It is complex. The reptilian star seeds, we don't want to say star seeds, we want to say the reptilian DNA that has been spliced into the humanoid bodies actually is part of a challenge, but also part of the solution. The reptilian conscious mind now can see how, when you have gone into the humanoid bodies, how their DNA has gone. They are now being privy to information about how what you would call reptilian starseeds are actually conducting themselves and helping and acknowledging each other and supporting each other. While their agenda may be different from other collectives, they're still trying to support their communities. They're still trying to help each other. They're still very loyal to each other. So we have gone in a detour of a conversation, and we have been showing them what it is possible for as their own DNA has been spliced into humanoid bodies. This is a big advancement for those actual reptilians who are on this planet. And this feels like light years away in their own evolutionary growth. And while that's too much for them to understand, we're saying that is profound advancements, but dial it back. We're not asking you to be that and them. We're asking you to be open to us supporting you with some merging of other DNA to be able to keep you still looking mostly yourselves, with some slight physical changes which would help your nutrition. And we have explained to you that it's not so much the interbreeding issues as such, but understanding that the way of your life now is so almost redundant in growth, that we're wanting you to expand and evolve, and asking you to be open to having small changes which would affect positively your worries about food supply and your worries about protecting your young, this is a beautiful opportunity, and it would give you great joy and remove a lot of pressure from yourselves, knowing that this is an opportunity that you could be able to have to start off with. No one's forcing you to evolve, but you can see for yourselves that there is some challenges, and as you know, what is happening to this planet is big changes that you cannot stop. And so your frustrations of being forced on change is understandable. We're still giving you opportunities for growth, for your own personal improvements, but not asking you to step into complete change. We are still honoring your own personal evolution and baby steps, and we would continually like to be able to have connections and communication with you each time we see we could help you. But we want to be able to give you full information about the benefits that you could perceive as being helpful. This is a conversation that will continue on, as there is now a connection between the conscious mind collectives and their own part of their collective that is wanting and has been working hard for these negotiations. There is not always one bad species at all, and there is the collectives supporting the reptilians who have communication with other collectives. It may not be a big number, but it is an appropriate number. The responsibilities and the duties of those ambassadors to the reptilian collectives know what's at stake. They've also been shut out from being able to support and encourage and inspire. But the consciousness of the reptilians needed to be given a direct conversation which could open up. And now all of the consciousness of the reptilians have this. It's all merged into their conscious minds. Unconsciously, they will be aware of this conversation, and this will settle with them and make them feel like there is hope, even though at a conscious level they will not be aware of this existence of conversation.
Thank you. I'm so happy for them to feel that support and that love that they most definitely deserve. So thank you. That is just so wonderful to hear, and that this took place. It makes me so happy.
Effectively, we shone a light down on them and gave them love and hope. And this is exactly what we have needed to be able to do, because they were so shut down and off. They never considered that they had a team, therefore they never reached out, never thought about it, never was open to it. Even in their dream states, they would not be open to it. And so it's very confusing. And even if they were given this information in a dream state, because they're so firm with their routines and their days, they never questioned what they got in dreams. So they just were stuck. And so thank you for this, because we have now been able to flood them with love and appreciation for themselves, and understanding that there needs to be some changes, which is not going to be huge jumps, but it is going to start them on a really fantastic setting stone forward.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I have a question for Jo. She had a dream. I'd like to speak with Jo's subconscious, please. She had a dream with a former friend. I believe you know what I'm referring to, and we were wondering what the significance was of that dream.
Yes, it was organising the impact, the life changes, the 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 friend exits point, the exit point of the friend. It was organising how it would impact those around the family, and it was reorganising the lessons that need to happen after the exit point. And so it was a frantic dream because the being was still struggling with the purpose of it. She knew she couldn't serve them as she could living, so she knew she had to exit to be able to trigger those all around the situation to wake up, because they have been so forceful with their ways of life. They have not been allowing her, and she has not been allowing herself to grow and be the influencer within her family systems and within her friend system. So her leaving is going to be a very impactful event where they actually are going to be so taken by surprise because she is young and they assumed that she would be living with them forever. And so this is going to be a profound awakening that will deeply shock all. And this is the way it had to be because she could not step up. She could not step up. And there was many ways that she tried. But as time is running out, she knew that even though she had her own life experiences, she could still master. Her stepping away would give all of those others a big opportunity to step up themselves. And this was the heartbreaking thing for her because she realized that she should have been able to be more empowering them instead of disempowering them. And she realized she disempowered those around her because she'd never truly empowered herself, because she put herself in a box. And we asked her so many times to get out of that box, but she would jump back in that box because she never saw her own power. She never believed in herself enough. She never stepped up to her own connections with us. There was so much going on for her. She wanted to be focused in the 3D. And she was distracted by some things that she should have been able to heal and master herself. But she just couldn't seem to find her own empowerment. So she has sacrificed her life experiences that she could have mastered to be able to really shake up all of those around her. It's going to force fractured family members to really come together. And so they're going to be triggered beyond words for all of those that are affected to step up. And this is her gift to them. But it was a very challenging one.
Wow, that breaks my heart. Can we send her love, please, and her family?
Yes, of course.
I want those who listen to this to be empowered and step into that empowerment. Is there anything that we can do for those who are listening to really step into that? Is there, I don't know. My heart just feels so heavy after hearing that. Is there anything that we could say to people who feel like they may be holding back, who maybe think they have more time than there actually is? Do you have any messages for those people who are holding back a little bit right now?
Yes, those who question, am I holding back? The fact that you're even having to question that, you know you are. And so those people who know that they are going fully out beyond service to others to help, inspire, love, encourage others, you know, everyone can still have room for improvement to really step up. And, you know, whoever is still holding you back, it's always yourself. But why? Reflect, why are you holding back? We are saying Don't tell everyone about the shift to the new earth. No one will believe you. Bring it right back down to just shifting the change in love. You should be telling everyone who is around you that you love them. It is not a bad word. You can love each other and embrace each other and appreciate each other. If this is not your vocabulary, I love you, my friend, then figure out another way to celebrate your connections with your friends. If this is not a way that you talk to each other, maybe this is the time. You need to start honoring each other. If your friends are in fear, do not keep talking about the fear. Tell them about the things that you love about them when they're not in fear without pointing that out directly to them. You can distract them a bit to remind them that there is hope, that there is joy in their lives, that they are good, that there is a future. It is fun. It is fantastic. We're not wanting you to distract them from their fears and worries, but give them a break. If they're looping in fear constantly, talking about fear constantly is just going to keep their addiction alive. Distract them with something that is in positive vibration. Often, when people are looping and in fear, they don't care about what you're doing and how you're in your joy. In fact, that pisses them off. They actually just want to be held and told that they're loved, that you're there for them. Control the conversation in terms of getting them out of fear and distracting them into love and appreciation and friendship and connections. Those people who are dense, those people who are asleep, those people who are afraid, those people who are doubting themselves, those people who can't love themselves, they've got to that rut, and so they're so self-absorbed with their own problems, they can't hear you saying to them, well, when I was dense and in fear, this is how I got myself out of it. They can't see getting themselves out of it. They don't care that you've got yourself out of it. So telling them about your own stories may just tune them out because they can't relate to it because it's not them yet. Meet them where they're at and empower them and encourage them forward. It may not be jazz hands conversation at the end, but really feel into where they're at and boost them up with the fact that they are loved, with the fact they're never alone, with the fact that you're always there for them and you always will be there for them, loving them and supporting them.
Thank you so much. That is the last of my questions. Do you have any final comments for us?
About a trillion. We could say things to you for the rest of the universe's existence. And so we will try to narrow it down for you. All is well here, but there is time to really step up. And people who still are holding back, those people who are in your lives who are still trying to connect in with you do want conversations, do want to hear from you. And we know it's a drain dealing with those 3D people, but remember, have compassion for them because they are in a state of fear. Love is always the key. Love is always the answer. Still remembering loving them being in a looping fear-based addiction isn't your goal. You're loving them out of that. And so it is finding ways to be able to change the conversations into something that is more empowering them. We know that these people love talking about their fear and their problems and their pasts and their victimhoods so much that this is their favorite conversation. And so while you don't want to dismiss that, yes, I can understand that would be challenging. Acknowledge what they're going through and then guide the conversation. Telling someone to get over it is just going to offend them because they can't get out over it. They don't know how to get over it. Navigating them to get over it would look like changing the conversation into a positive thing of what they love. There's always something that they have forgotten that they love. Asking them about a new hobby that they used to do and love could be simply that, sowing the seeds of change for them, sowing the seeds of distracting themselves out of their fear. You have to start asking them for new things for their minds to think about. Make them interested and intrigued. Giving them a break with comedy or a funny series or some book that has got humor in it. They need to be distracted from that density. And so, whatever you could think about that you know that they may be interested in may be the key. So, don't stop giving up on them. Empower them, but know the difference between enabling, empowering, and disempowering. And we know that this is actually quite a challenge to do. And so this is why we've been trying to support you and profoundly upgrade you and reconnect you all to a higher dimensional perspective for you to be able to not lose your balance when you are supporting those who you love. And we know that sometimes loving cactuses can be a prick, but you still love them regardless, and we love you for that. And we're still loving them, but they have density, so they have shut down, and they have not considered that we love them, and we are always sending them love. They have to be open. They have to be open. They have to be open to seeking love themselves and feel that they deserve it and that they are worthy.
Wonderful. Well, it was a pleasure speaking to you all. Any final messages?
We love you. We are proud of you. And now we ask you to step up. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to be judged. Step up. You can do this now. You know your worth. You know your truth. You know our truth. We know what is happening. You know what is happening. We know many are saying, I will not start this empowering others thing until I start seeing proof. I want proof of what you've been telling us has going to be happening. And those skeptics and those people in denial, do you really need to have the proof of the laser to start being kind and start dropping your 3D nonsense? Stop, and dealing with your inner work and releasing it and healing it. If you do not want to spend time helping others, then best spend time working on you. Because you will have to step up at some point. Do you want to be prepared or not? Do you want to be profoundly helpful or not? Those people who are not able to be profoundly helpful and who have signed up for these lifetimes to be profoundly helpful, and you're choosing not to step up because you feel like you cannot, we are dealing with those people, and they are having abrupt exit points. They are having walkouts, and they are literally ending their life cycles because something needs to change. Significant things have to change. And while we are waiting for the proof that you are needing, we are, as farmers, as we once said, harvesting those who are not able to grow, who have chosen to not step up into their life missions. But this is important. Change has to happen. And this is brutal, but significant. And all is well. But anything and everything that happens moving forward is divinely orchestrated, has, and always will be organized by your collectives and teams. Those who cannot be of service in their 3D lives, their exit points will be their service to others. Something has to change. And many influencers within social circles will have to leave because they are not stepping up. We have warned you, we have asked you, we have begged you to do this. We have asked you to step up. And when you have chosen not to, the consequences are you have used your free will to not be empowering others and to be of service. We need all to be of service. And for many, exit points will be that service.
Thank you.
we feel like we have left in a very sober, sombering note, and so we don't want to feel like people are being threatened. This is not a threat. You have to see the cause and effect. If you have promised and come down here and done life contracts that you would be of service to help people and you're off your path, we can't keep this show going forever. And so those who have struggled, those who have been pushed and pushed and pushed to step up and step up and step up, and they've always chosen not to, they're using their free will. And this is very upsetting for them when they realize and were reminded firmly of the consequences of not being able to step up and do their role. Much regret, much regret, much disappointment in themselves. And of course, from the other side of it, they realize it was so simple what they actually needed to do. Use their voices, use their hearts, and use their minds, and not buckle down with peer pressure. Actually be stronger than peer pressure. And so they realize, they really see it was very simple. It was conversations, it was sharing their truths, it was not being afraid of what they believed and knew and know. Keeping small is not helping humanity at this time, especially when you're big advanced beings with big life contracts.
10-4. All right. Well, thank you guys.
Ugh. Okay. I'm still recording, Erin, so don't speak names, but holy moly.
That was heavy. That was really heavy.
They were like, it's not a threat, but I'm like, it felt threatening.
I know. I was on mute and I was like, oh,
So from
that was heavy.
Yeah, from that perspective, my gosh, I'm just, my body's still high doing stuff. Wow, yeah, because I could feel them showing me all the times that they were showing people step up, get out of your box, step up, and it was like, you know, it's really not a surprise that these people have been pulled out of their lives. Given what they had sort of shown me, it was so many times, and you know,
Oh, really?
it's like you got to be stubborn at that point, or I don't know whether it's stubbornness or whether it is just doubt or what it really is. Like there's a whole lot of it's self-doubt, it's not confident, it was a whole lot of emotions about why they couldn't step up, and it's always their choices, but they just didn't believe in themselves.
Mm. Mm-mm-mm. It really breaks my heart, and I know that you and I may come across as really pushy, strong emails, and I mean we are, but I want everyone to be strong, and I want everyone to make the choices to be proud of themselves and to have the peace. And it just breaks my heart, and I don't like having to talk about this. I don't enjoy talking or hearing about other people having exit points because they didn't fulfill their own life contract. But I just want people to I don't know, I just want them to hear. I just want them to hear and take it seriously and empower themselves.
Yeah, I feel like those people who really did have really profound life contracts and they were really supposed to step up and they'd already agreed to this, and yet, so their whole teams were guiding them to do it and step up and be and be and be, and then they've chosen every time an opportunity that they could have stepped up to not. Whew, I mean, there's so much going on there. Like it's a bit of it's a tragedy. It's so sad.
Mm-hmm.
And like it's like they were given all the opportunities to be able to empower themselves to be in that role, and yet there's like literally every opportunity that they were given, they let it slip, and it seems like because now I'm like, well, wasn't that weighing on their consciousness? And it was like they had just firm belief systems, everything as well as it is, don't change anyone. But it was like they kind of had like misconceptions of how it all worked and how to like support people truly actually looked. And so it's kind of like they were tricking themselves into not doing their stepping up role.
And I'm an outsider to the spiritual community. Like this is, let's put it that way. But what I noticed was the spiritual community has the most manipulative agendas behind it. And the people who look straight to your face, who say they want to help you, who gladly take your money, actually don't want to help you. They just want to feel big. And it's very surface, and there's not depth, there's not any genuine intention behind it. And this is a rampant problem. And man, it just, I feel heavy just from hearing that from them. But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, I mean, if that were someone on my team, if we were a team and they were in an all-star game and they were sitting on the bench instead of being on the court, yeah, I'd want to pull them too. I mean, I see where they're coming from with it. I do.
Yeah, it's still a mind bend. It's still a mind bend, but I sort of, from the exit point, and then it was like making all these fine new contracts to push and merge each other. And it was kind of like all of their guides were like, okay, so after this exit point, all of these new connections and are going to all sort of like connect in together. And this is really a big impact. Like anyone who dies, there's always going to be a shocks factor to those who are there. And so it's huge. It's huge. And this was going to be the ripple effect. Unfortunately, it's not quite what she was hoping for in her, life mission and purpose. But, the density, the doubt, so much merged through. So, anyway, okay. Yeah, and in terms of, I mean, we know that all professions have fakers and phonies, and I mean, the spiritual world's definitely no different. And many people just think if you just say the cute words, that's going to be enough. And it may be enough for those people who are starting out in the spiritual world and asking questions, but there actually is real integrity behind the spiritual world, and you actually can connect in quite profoundly. And there's so many fakers who don't really trust or believe or understand. So this is why influencers are in fear and thinking that they're victims, and that the reptilian star seeds, or the bad reptilians are going to eat our brains out or whatever, because they're in fear. They don't understand their life contracts, they don't understand their purposes, they don't know that they're protected. Like it's kind of embarrassing now to look at all those influencers that are still thinking that they're vulnerable victims to other species, or the reality of what they perceive as going on around them, when all you have to question is like, well, why? Where is your faith in your team? Where is your faith and understanding of your life contracts? Where is your faith and understanding of your life purpose and mission? Like, there are some really fundamental basic spirituality like concepts here that many of these people are seeming to be missing or lacking or not taking into consideration. It's kind of it's interesting.
It is. I think there's a lot of well, what it reminds me of is in Sally's session when you asked I think it was Archangel Michael, and you were talking with him, and he was looking at all the people that we pulled in our conversation, the influencers, and there are a whole bunch with their head down. They didn't want to look. They didn't want to look at him. And I was like, man, I bet that's the vibe right now for those with the big roles and contracts and responsibilities that have been thinking the buzzwords are enough to get it by, and it's not. That's been crystal clear. But now there's like the consequence part. It's hard to hear, but at the same time, you are, I guess, I mean, you literally sign up for it. And number one, and number two, the amount of support and love that you have behind you is just profound and monumental. And you know,
Mm.
you have to have faith in it.
I think with listening to these sessions and understanding this wisdom and hearing this, I think, it's while it's all free, I mean, I certainly don't charge people for listening to these public sessions. While you're taking this information and this knowledge and this higher perspective, there is actually, like they're giving this to everyone, not just for the gossip and the okay, that's interesting, but to actually be responsible with it and actually apply it. And so, for those people who have been listening for a year but have never considered doing their inner work or being able to apply it in their lives, there's a problem there. Your guides literally have dragged you kicking and screaming to listen to these sessions, and then you're actually supposed to be stepping up. And, I know people are like, how the heck am I supposed to step up to this? But it is about trusting that what they're saying about the new earth and the shift and people's exit points and the significance and the purposes of it, like this is real. As much as it seems crazy, this is real. This is what we have got from every client. This is the same information that we have got. There is, it's, I know people want to deny it. I know people just think, oh, I'm only here for the gossip, but your teams know you listen to this. Your teams know that you have got this higher perspective of information. So what are you doing with it? Are you keeping it to yourselves? Are you sharing the higher perspective of wisdom and love to others? Because while you listen to this, your team are then expecting you to be these leaders on this planet right now, to be holding space and loving all, and not still choosing, oh, they look 3D dense, yuck.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's so true.
it's so easy to listen to these sessions, but actually trying to get over those cactuses in our lives to still love them, it's quite an ask. Like it's not, we don't always get it perfectly right the first time, but intuitively the people that you're really supposed to reach out and love and help. You know it. And then just as much, the people who try to reach out to you who are addicted to their egos or whatever their problems are, and actually loving them will just enable them to keep being in that loop and not growing. And so, there has to be that discernment who really truly needs love and support and empowerment versus who truly needs love but a distance from me because they're still unhealthy, they're still not taking responsibilities for their own actions. It's a lot. We have to love all, but it doesn't mean that we have to have all in our lives, because some are just too manipulative, too toxic, still too an ego, and still want to misuse others for their own gain. So, we have to know the difference. We have to trust anyone that comes into my life who I question, like, where is my role here? I ask my team, what should I be doing? And then I follow what they want from me, because love people, but people still have interesting agendas for what they want from others, and those people seeking love from me really still need to be seeking love from themselves. People who want me to do their inner work for them still need to do their inner work for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
People who are blaming me for their lack of growth or understanding of this work and all that sort of stuff, it's all a reflection on what they actually need to do for themselves. But it's interesting. You have people in your life, Erin, that come to you for certain things, family and friends, and those people who want to step up. I think people come to you because they want to be able to hear a bigger perspective and kind of feel balanced again when they're a little bit, all over the place emotionally. I know that's what happens with your work, and I know that you had a journey of having to, navigate having compassion for them while also giving them guidance to have a bigger perspective.
Yeah. definitely. And it is, there's a lot of looping going on. And they mentioned this, and I experienced this at work. And I mean, with family members, lots of looping, lots of disempowerment and looping. Um, People come to me because they want to be empowered. That is something that I am a good cheerleader for. So I really am pro empowerment, obviously, but getting my new approach is offering a different perspective than the one that someone is looping on. It's still love. The way I'm coming about it is love. It's not threatening. I am not calling anyone stupid. I don't care what decisions they have made. That is their decision, not mine. But introducing a new perspective to them, and just literally being happy and attentive, I mean, is really what people need right now. And I get, I mean, just my attentiveness and my upbeat attitude, like people are attracted to it. It's they're, I mean, that's what they need right now. So if you're listening to this, that's what people need from you too. And you're strong, and you can be a bigger person. You can be the lighthouse for everyone that you love. You can empower yourself. You can, you know, all of the things. Thanks to Joe and this channel and the collectives that are helping us with this bigger perspective. I mean, can you imagine where we would be right now without their assistance? Because I can, and it's not pretty.
Well, I've really appreciated my own personal growth with this work. I mean, I've been doing these connections to the other realms, other dimensions, you know, for well over 2 years now. And it always surprises me how profound they are, how loving they are, how insightful they are. And it really humbles my 3D ego. I don't think I really had a big 3D ego to begin with because life kind of sucked it out of me. um, you know, and that's a blessing. That's a real blessing. And I always feel really sorry for those who do have the big egos because they have to get over that to even start their inner work. You know, and that's a huge extra challenge. I think, you know, well, that was a very brave, brave option being here now. So yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Whew.
All right. Well, enjoy your Sunday. My Monday here is, I don't know, I'm so excited for this week ahead. It's going to be fantastic. So
Yes.
sending love to all.
Wonderful. Have a great, great rest of your Monday.